The Netherlands, officially the Kingdom of the Netherlands, is a transcontinental constitutional monarchy located in Northern Europe. Sharing borders with Belgium and Germany, its territory is divided between the European Netherlands in northwestern Europe and its Caribbean components, Aruba, Curaçao, Sint Maarten, and the special municipalities of Bonaire, Sint Eustatius, and Saba. While Amsterdam is the official capital and the country's largest city, economic hub, and site of the monarch's coronation, The Hague is the actual seat of government, housing the Parliament, ministries, and the Supreme Court. Want to visit the Netherlands? US citizens traveling to the Netherlands for less than 90 days do not require a visa. Numerous major carriers fly this route, such as American Airlines, Delta, United, KLM, Air France, JetBlue, Virgin Atlantic, British Airways, Lufthansa, among others.
Greetings and welcome. My name is Zoraya Cuesta, Director of International Student Services at Miami Dade College North Campus. Joining me today is Dr. Leon Palombo, Professor in the Department of World Languages. We are truly honored to host the Honorable Lisette Breems, Consul General of the Kingdom of the Netherlands in Miami, for an insightful discussion on Dutch culture and international relations. This conversation is part of the Building Global Leaders International Speaker Series, presented in collaboration with the Center for the Advancement of Language and Cultural Studies in the Department of World Languages. Welcome, Consul General. It is a pleasure and an honor to have you here at Miami Dade College North Campus.
Thank you very much.
And thank you for accepting our invitation.
With pleasure.
So the topic of our conversation is going to be Dutch culture and international relations. And I'm going to ask you the first question. Could you explain what it means to be a diplomat?
Of course, it's a very nice question to start with. And I wanted to put that question a little bit in the historic context.
Yeah.
Because diplomacy is actually one of the oldest professions in the world. It started thousands of years ago, when leaders sent trusted messengers to other kingdoms to prevent war. And those early diplomats helped building peace, helped promoting trade, and helped to generate understanding amongst people. Fast forward to today. I think that most of what I now do is exactly that. We still build bridges as diplomats.
Yes.
We promote cooperation in topics like trade, business, culture, security, and we try to look for common ground if we encounter differences between people. And this common ground helps us as a world to grow and live in peace. So that's all very beautifully said, but what does that now mean in concrete? And maybe we dive a little bit deeper into that with the next question, but I do want to reinforce that this profession is a profession that combines communication, patience, listening, and a very genuine curiosity about what is happening not only in this country, but in the world.
That's true. Thank you for that answer.
Thank you, Consul, for being here again. What does your role as Consul General of the Kingdom of Netherlands in Miami entail?
Yeah, it's another good question, and maybe it's good to explain a little bit how our diplomatic network in the United States works and what I represent.
Yeah.
Because as some of you might know, we have embassies around the world where we as diplomats work. Of course, in the United States, we have a huge embassy, which is located in Washington, D.C., where the federal level of the federal state sits. We have an ambassador over there. The ambassador is actually my direct boss. Mm-hmm. And in the embassy, they work on different topics like politics, trade, security, public diplomacy, culture, education, a whole range of topics. But because of the fact that the United States is such a big country, we, in addition to the embassy, have consulates general across the country. We have 5 in total. One in New York, one in Chicago, we have one in San Francisco, we have one in Atlanta, and the most important one is in Miami.
Miami.
So that's where our offices are. We are in Brickell, and my team that I lead consists of 12 people in total. Those consulates general focus in particularly on economic diplomacy, trade promotion, and also taking care of Dutch citizens or of people that want to travel to the Netherlands or to another part of our kingdom, which is actually very interesting. It's the Caribbean part of our kingdom. We have autonomous countries in our kingdom, like Curaçao, Aruba, and Sint Maarten, which are very close to Miami. And in fact, Miami for them is a little bit the entry point to the United States. So I represent the interest of the whole kingdom, including those countries. From Miami, we do not only work in Florida as a state. We have divided a little bit the country in different regions. So as a Consul General, I work a lot in Florida, but I also cover the states Mississippi, Louisiana, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Texas, Puerto Rico, the Bahamas, and I can continue because there's a few other islands that I unfortunately haven't visited yet, but which form part of what we call the resort of our consulate. So all these areas are part of my responsibility.
Oh my God, you have a lot.
Yeah, that is
Yes.
a lot, in fact. It is, in fact, yeah. And then from a day-to-day basis, what do I do? What are those responsibilities? Well, first and foremost, I would say that I keep in contact and I build relations and a network with the local and the state authorities in those states. And with some, we work a little bit more than with others, based on the priority of the states. So you can imagine that with Florida, I have quite extensive relationships. And the same goes for Texas and Louisiana. In other places, I only go if there's a sincere case that I have to attend, or if they call upon me, or if there is another reason. But we're prioritizing a little bit given the fact that we're still a very small consulate.
Yes.
And we have to look very well at what our interests are, our core interests, and work along those.
And that means because you don't have a lot of citizens in those other areas? Or?
Exactly. So if you look at like the Dutch citizens, where they live and where they work, it's for a large part in Florida, and we have many also in Texas.
In Texas.
In fact, there is a village in Texas which is called Nederland, which is the Netherlands.
Didn't know that.
Yeah. I hope to visit that village in a couple of weeks, actually.
Oh, good.
Yeah. And then I have, of course, a team who works with me on those topics. Trade promotion is not only with governments, of course, that we do through business. We help Dutch businesses that have an interest in the market in Florida and that actually want to come here and do business. Sometimes they just want to sell products. Sometimes they want to invest and build offices or places here to then cater to the rest of the United States or, in fact, to Latin America. You might know a company called Heineken. They make beer. They have their offices for Latin America in Miami. And the same goes for example, Friesland Campina. They produce milk and cheese and products related to that. And they also have their offices in Miami, but cater to the rest of Latin America as well. Then we have quite a few trade delegations visiting this area of the United States. And that is because of the fact that in Florida, there's a very pro-business environment. So you see a lot of energy in Florida at the moment. I think it relates to the tax system as well, and a very welcoming place, the cities, the mayors, all with open arms when it comes to companies, trades, and also investment. So it's good to have the Dutch companies here and show them what they can do here and what's in it for them. And hopefully that will help both those companies as well as the people living in Florida.
That's good, because you have sort of answered the other question that I have. We know that Florida and the Netherlands shares a dynamic economic relationship. My question was, can you share insights on the economic ties between the Netherlands and Florida? And you have mentioned some of it, but would you like to say a little bit more?
No, definitely. I think, well, if you zoom out a little bit, what I first and foremost want to emphasize is the fact that the United States as such is a very important market, not only for the Netherlands, but for the European Union, of which we are part. And in fact, the European Union is the largest investor in the United States. Now, when we zoom into Florida a little bit, the Netherlands is a very small country, but yet we are the 6th largest investor in Florida. And if you, for example, go in Wynwood to the brewery La Tropicale, which is in fact based on a location in Cuba and brought here, that's half owned by Heineken. So they decided to invest in that brewery. Besides those investments, which are important for the Netherlands, we do a lot of investments, foreign direct investments, as we call them. We have trade. And it's good to know that the trade, the import and the export is more or less the same. So what we import from Florida are medical devices, for example, or chemicals. What Florida imports from us are beautiful ships. We build very good yachts.
Yes, you do.
Horses, but also beer and beverages, for example, and different goods. So those trade relations, we cherish them and we try to nourish them. And if there's anything or any problems that companies encounter, we try to help and resolve those problems.
Consul, what advice would you give to students aspiring to careers in diplomacy or international affairs?
Yeah, well, first and foremost, I will tell them that you have chosen the best job there is. Now, I think, honestly, what my advice would be, well, first and foremost, I think it's extremely important to be curious. And to be curious not only about what is happening in Florida or even in the United States, but what is happening outside of the borders. And the best way, of course, to learn that is to try and gain experience in different countries. I have done that myself when I was still studying at university. In fact, I didn't study international relations. I studied sociology and I studied anthropology.
Oh my God.
And I decided to write my thesis about developments in Chile. So I traveled to Chile, I did my research over there, and then I came back to the Netherlands and wrote my thesis. And that has been a very important experience for me. So this curiosity and trying to look for opportunities to learn about different cultures is what I would definitely encourage people to do. Then a second one I would say is invest in your languages. If you really want to understand people or want to understand other countries, it helps an awful lot if you understand the language. And I think that's like many of your students have an advantage because I think that many of them are bilingual or even trilingual. So cherish that and try if you can expand that knowledge. For me, after English and French and German, which we are being taught in school, I learned my Spanish by traveling to Chile and doing my research over there. And that has brought me a lot and gave me bonus points when I tried to enter into the diplomatic service in the Netherlands. So the languages would definitely be my second recommendation. And then the third one has to do with the fact that building trust and building relations is so important. It's a key topic for us. And I think that works best if you stay very authentic and if you follow your heart and if you do not pretend to be someone that you are not. And I think people should not be afraid to do that because others sense that. And the moments that they sense that you're honest and authentic, they are more or less reluctant to share information with you and to do things together. So I think that those would be my 3 main recommendations for people that are interested in this profession. And of course, it helps if you read the newspaper. And if your newspaper is maybe very old-fashioned, so you can read it on the screen as well. But if you follow developments which are currently taking place, and well, we do live in a time where a lot is happening, not only in the Western Hemisphere, but also in other parts of this world.
Let me ask you, how many years you live in Chile, or it was just for a short period of time?
Yeah, I didn't even tell a little bit about what my career looked like, because in Chile I lived for about 6 months when I was still studying there, and then I came back and I did an internship in our Ministry of Foreign Affairs. I worked on democratization and human rights. But in The Hague, so in my country. Okay. And then I decided to apply for the diplomatic service. I had to pass a lot of exams to get there. And after that, I began my career from a very young second secretary, as we call that, in Colombia, back to The Hague, the Netherlands, on to London. I worked on Africa, back to The Hague. And then my last posting was, before coming to Miami 2 years ago, was actually in Santiago de Chile again. So I went back, but this time I lived and worked there for 4 years as a deputy ambassador in Santiago de Chile.
In Santiago de Chile.
Yeah.
That's good, that's good.
Yeah. Together with my husband and with our son of 13 years old, because that is also part of being a diplomat. You move around a lot and you move your family around.
You and your family,
well.
yes.
And it brings us many beautiful memories, but at times it's also difficult.
True. No, I imagine, especially when you have teenagers.
Yeah.
There is more problem there. Let me ask you, the Netherlands is known for its expertise in water management. How is your country addressing the challenges of rising sea levels? And we ask this because we have it here in Florida.
Exactly. It's a topic that we work on quite extensively as a Consulate General, precisely because of that. And if you look at our country, the Netherlands, it sits in Europe. It's a very small country, and if you zoom out, you actually see it's kind of a delta. You have different big rivers coming from across Europe and land into the sea, the North Sea, in our country. So that means that we have always a lot of water passing through. At the same time, the Netherlands literally means Nederland, below sea.
Below sea level.
We are a very low country. And the lowest point, I think, is 22 feet below sea level. It's always been that way. And in the very early ages, like 700 years ago, the people in the Netherlands started to drain those areas that were very wet. and what they did was they built dikes around them, they put windmills, and that way they pumped out the water. Like the big pumps you have here as well that pump out water. And when we mastered that, we thought, okay, we're such a small country, so we can now start gaining more land from the sea, which we did by building dikes again. So it's really, I think, in the genes of the Dutch, this working with and on water. A big turning point for us was in 1953, when we had a huge disaster in the Netherlands because of, well, a combination of factors that you very well know here as well. We had a big storm coming in, together with a king tide, and that caused many dikes to break in the southern part of the Netherlands. And people were not prepared for that. So more than 2,000 people drowned. And we had hundreds of thousands of people that were being displaced. And well, that was a national disaster, but it also led the government to act and to build what we call a Delta plan. And that's it's a huge infrastructural plan which consists of dikes, which consists of storm surge barriers, and a lot of investments. Money-wise, over a lot of years, and plans being developed not only by the government, but together with local communities who have suffered these problems and these floodings. And up until today, that Delta plan is still there, and we keep adjusting it based on what we learn. One of the things that we have learned, and I think it might also apply to Florida, is that it doesn't help to just fight against water. We try to live with the water. So we try to create spaces where if there is flooding, the water can actually go. Room for the river, for example. So in those spaces we don't build, but we make sure that when there's a lot of water coming down, that water can be kept there without flooding those spaces and those cities where the people do live. Nature-based solutions, we sometimes call them. We have beautiful dunes, which look like dunes, but we also use them as a parking garage. But it's hidden, the parking garage is hidden underneath. I think that would also be wonderful for Florida, because you have a lot of parking spaces.
True.
And there is a lot of exchange actually with different institutions in Florida, like the South Florida Water Management Board, or with the US Army Corps of Engineers, but also with NGOs which are active over here, to see together and to learn from each other how to confront this rising sea level that we all see happening.
Thank you, Consul General. Time is running out, and yes, we're going to have you for a second interview.
Yes.
To finish all of the questions that we have. But I really thank you for taking the time and being here with us and going through this interview.
Fantastic.
Thank you
it
very
was
much.
my pleasure, and I'm very happy to come back and discuss some of the other topics that the Netherlands is well known for, like bicycles or tulips or canals or whatever you want me to tell. No, I'm happy, and I hope this will serve also for the students to learn a little bit more about the Netherlands and what we can do together.
Thank you.
Thank you. I would like to thank Dr. Zoraya Cuesta for her participation in this program, and especially Consul General Lisette de Breems for always taking time out of your busy schedule to enrich the lives of our students, faculty, and staff at MDC North Campus. On behalf of the International Education Awareness Month Committee, I hope you enjoyed this presentation. Thank you all.
Thank you.